Hello, people, it's Poet, and welcome to a very special edition of TimeShot. As you can see, we are sitting here in the Season 1, not Season 2, not Season 3, Season 1 spawn area. And the reason I'm here is because I was working on another project. I decided that we should go around and check out some of the memories, talk about the old seasons of TimeShot. We just introduced TimeShot Season 3, and it's been years and years and years and years and years in the making, and I wanted to go back through time and just have a fun trip through memory lane with you guys. Trip down memory lane, I should say. Right through it, straight through it like a bullet. I wanted to go through and talk about some of the things that we did, some of the stories, some of the people, some of the regrets, and kind of go through there, building up towards what we want to do and what we plan to do in Season 3. I can't wait. So let's get started. And number one, I actually did record this before, but OBS crashed, unfortunately. So here we go again. Pretend that I am so nostalgic and sincere. But no, seriously, I am. Another thing to note is that this is recorded in 1.16.1. TimeShot Season 1 was done in like 1.10 or even earlier than that. So some things might be broken, some blocks might be missing, and some signs are entirely messed up. I don't know why. And for example, like we had a giant map here of all of Spawn and the surrounding areas, and it's just gone. I don't know why, but you can see that this was left off. This is the last and final available ever download of TimeShot Season 1. I don't even know if it was released to the public. It may have been, but in any case, this is what the very final, like if I were to grab a backup of the server today, this is what would be on there. No more updates. And nothing missing from where we left off. So one of the biggest things, of course, that I worked on, and of course there's the emphasis on me, because this is my episode, this is my show, I'll do what I want. I always loved this bridge. The bridge spanning these two different sections of land was always so cool. I thought greatest achievement was building that bridge. So simple, but looks so good. And of course the tower, which ended up being the pinnacle of a lot of stories, the focal point. One of the biggest things that we always focused on in Season 1 was the restaurant district, as we ended up calling it. You had the JFC, which turned into the JHC because Huck took over from Jake. You got Poe's Pork. You got Irma Gerd Burgers, Anasia's vegetarian burger place. Edson's place, Willy Wonderful Wabbits. I believe that was Edson's. Or was this Edson? What is this? Whose is this? It's like a gastropub. Maybe this was Edson. I don't even remember now. Whose was this? Whose was this? Maybe this wasn't Edson's. I don't know. I don't remember now. It's been so long. It's supposed to be an episode about memories, and I can't remember. So, good GG. That's Huck's build. You can just barely see Zeshin's Aztecian pyramid in the background, and our racetracks. You got Holdfast's base up there. Of course, Liam, one of the co-founders of TimeShot. We redesigned his dome to actually be a dome and became sort of a Hunger Games-esque build, which was so really one of the most fun I've had on the server was inside of this dome. You got Fultron's base right here. Beereace's whole village, which look at the amount of work put into that, honestly. I got 2G1M's base, which turned into like a haunted mansion. We spent so many Halloweens and projects and fun times in there. Anasia's build was right there. Unfortunately, she took it down before she left. Fabe's Whale Ray, again, the focal point of so many different stories and So much time was spent on the whale rig going back and forth between Fabe's base, mostly for pranking. You had that giant building over there, to be honest, 100% built by Dave, surprisingly. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know that. Dave came along one day, and like over the course of one day, essentially, he just built this giant skyscraper here, which again became the focal point of so many stories as we sat in these offices and argued over sludge and things of that sort. Okay, of course, April's base here, it does, I got to admit, like, this dinosaur right here is not actually part of the final backup. So I originally said, like, what you see here is what you would see if I were to grab a backup today. That's not entirely true. This dinosaur right here is what we pranked April with. We had 2 of them. I logged into this world download, and I actually redesigned it because I needed that for my dinosaur world in my modded server. So this would not be here on TimeShot. So that's the only unauthentic thing on the entire download that I'm playing on right now. And just in case you wondered why there was a quartz dinosaur. Your memory would be better than mine, though. This town hall used to be so epic. All the signs seem to be missing and all the banners seem to be missing, except for like torts for some reason. But a basic banner for every single member, every current member on the server. And then our achievements were actually with us as well on that server. And I love that aspect. I wish we could bring something like that back. I think we need to look at banners again, potentially. And here we had basically a leaderboard for various things like distance traveled by pig, players killed, and fish caught. But we also had like number of UHC wins or, that kind of thing. And another awesome thing that didn't really focus on very often was down here, the former members mausoleum, the basically like tombstones to the former members, but such a great idea to have little chests, put things in them to commemorate them, to say thank you to them, for the people who left for various reasons. Something that I think was such a great idea, and I almost wish that we could bring something like that back again, just to commemorate the people who helped us get where we are, and go from there. Like the people who help us build TimeShot from the ground up. I gotta say though, before I move on, that this build is one of my favorite builds that I've ever worked on in Minecraft, and Fabe helped with this. It was obviously more him than me, I'll admit. But in any case, one of the most gorgeous looking builds that I think I've ever seen in Minecraft, and I'm so privileged to have worked with Fabe on it. So cool. To this day, every time I log into Season 1, this is like, I want to somehow capture this in the screenshot somehow because I'm just so proud of it. Then, of course, my base, like I said, focus on myself because I am greedy and selfish. No, because this is my episode and I'll do what I want. Poet's final inventory. See, this is my inventory when we logged off of TimeShot Season 1 for the last time. I knew that we were going to do a world download, and so I threw my inventory into a chest so that people who downloaded it could take a look. This took so long to build and hollow out, mostly because I did it without any use. And this is stupid thinking about it now. And if I could go back and say regrets, I did all of this digging without the use of any type of beacons or even really good picks. Most of this was like done with an iron pick, and it took essentially like over a year to just dig out, hollow out. It was a giant pit in the ground for the longest time. My biggest regret is that I didn't do it smart. I didn't do it in a way that would have made it so much easier. Took so less time. I spent a lot of time working on this when I could have been focusing on other things, but it was still an important build because this, of course, was my build to say thank you to the people who have donated to me. For example, like in the Steam donor room, all the signs have popped off now, but like anybody who had donated a game through Steam got put onto there. People who helped out during certain charity events got put into certain rooms like that. Likewise, people who donate. I had different rooms for like the Amazon wish list versus Steam wish list versus just, one-off donations in a stream. But so much time was spent on this. I sort of wish that I had a way to say thank you without it needing to be so epic. And I'm going to talk about that more when we look at season 2. But like, I want to be able to say thank you in a way that really respects the people who donate and help and support the channel, support me, but without it taking years to get to that point. Of course, Fabe's build, look, it's so epic and awesome, and it's not even his real build. Like that's part of his build, but the majority of his base was all underground in here. Let's see if we can even spot it. And so many stories and things took place in here as well. Yeah, look at this. Of course, he did it in a wise way. He's got beacons everywhere and no fuss. Not saying that it was easy for him to dig out or anything, but I didn't do it the very smart way. He did it, of course, a much smarter way. This is MK's base. And things like this, like I at the time didn't appreciate the scale of a base like this, how much work it took to dig out and carve out and modify and shape a base like this. At the time, I just had no concept. I wasn't used to building back then, honestly. I regret that this town, this little village, this village was supposed to be full. Like, wall-to-wall-to-wall builds. Of course, it never got that far. And something that I regret. One of the cool features, and I know that you guys who have been watching forever know, is that this Fort Poet is actually sort of a replica of a build that was on Red Cubed. That's why it sort of looks out of place. It doesn't look like any of the other builds, but like when I was new to Minecraft, when I was new to YouTube, like this is something that I would build, and it made its way back to TimeShot, actually, from the Red Cubed server. So that's years and years and years, that build, but just a little memory of my own there. Before we leave season 1, I can't not show this. Arguably, the most epic hub that has ever existed in Minecraft. I mean, toot my own horn maybe, but like this was mostly MK and Fabe's build. Though I don't know of a single member who didn't at least place a block, who didn't help build the walls, who didn't at least help dig out the area, build out the floor, build out the circles. We all chipped in. It was a community effort with the design chops of MK and Fabe on it. It looks so epic. To this day, probably the best Nether hub that I am aware of in existence. Just because of the way that it looks, the design of it, the scale of it, the way that the portals all look. And this hourglass, which so accurately and aptly portrays TimeShot with our logo being the hourglass. You see the logo on the ceiling and on the floor with the sand falling through. It is just so insanely good. I love even the fact that like this isn't, you'd think this is a giant square cutout, but it's not. The walls have textures. The walls have steps. The walls jut out. They have corners. The corners were all designed. The trees, the vines, you name it. I think one of the only things that I really helped on, I did all of the little stair blocks, the little cutouts, and varied the patterns and put in the cracked blocks and so on. That was one of the things that I contributed to this. Things like that. That's a missing block there. That's not right, but I loved helping out with this either way. One of the best hubs in Minecraft, and I'm very proud that it was on our server. I really wish that we could have done something like this in season 2, which we'll get to, but like, my hope is that with the new Nether update in 1.16, we do something really cool for TimeShot season 3. That is my ultimate hope. And we'll have to see. We'll see how it all turns out in the end. But until then, we'll be seeing ya. And that so much is season 1's area. Let's hop on to season 2 and see what memories we could find there. Here we are in season 2. Of course, the memories here are a lot fresher in our memory because we were literally just here. But I still wanted to kind of pay homage and take a look at the season and reminisce about what we did. Maybe talk about some of the regrets and things that we couldn't do. And one of those biggest ones is that this tower, I hoped that this would inspire more people to get on and build, but also that I hope that more people would start building more a cityscape. Of course, you have Mara's tower there, but I kind of wish that, like, and I'm drawing inspiration from my very own patron server. I have a patron server where people who pledge monthly are able to join and build in Minecraft with fellow fans and patrons. And in their server, they've built sort of like a cityscape. There's various skyscrapers in the area. And it looks so epic having just a city all of a sudden. So that was sort of my hope, is that like building upwards like that would inspire others to do the same. Unfortunately, it just didn't. Simple as that. But a lot of great memories here. We had Wynn's build. She worked so hard on that build. Of course, the Hako truck driven into it. Such a awesome. This Hako truck, the fact that it's made it from Red Cubed again, another Red Cube memory, when it was Skybridge Bob's Winnebago in the Sky, turned into a Hako truck on season 1, and then somehow managed to crash its way multiple times into various buildings. So epic. I love it so much. We got the Coliseum. I think that's one of Jake and Tort's biggest regrets, is that they never finished it. A lot of work went into this. I wish that we could have spent as much time here as we did in the Battle Boob on season 1. And that was sort of the intent. That's why it's split into 4 different quadrants. Was that we were going to have sort of a battle area like season 1 again. But again, it just the scale of it and the motivation involved and everything just never saw the light of day, unfortunately. One of the things that you don't really realize is that, well, maybe you do, but I don't think a lot of people know what this spawn monument is supposed to be. Tort designed it, and it's a die-cut hourglass. Because we're TimeShot, our logo has an hourglass on it, and that was sort of supposed to be the hourglass shape that TimeShot is represented by. I don't know that a lot of people actually even knew that, but we always modified it. Tord always modified it on Christmas and in those seasons, the holiday seasons, to look more like a Christmas tree in the same die cut look. And then converted it back after Christmas to go back to looking like the hourglass. And I just love that was one of my favorite aesthetics of Spawn, was that hourglass die cut look. Unfortunately, like we never did a nether hub like we did on TimeShot season 1 here, and in fact completely ended up resetting the nether. Now, to their credit, like Edson and Penny, they dug out the nether as much as they could. They cleared out the space. It just needed someone to go in and start placing blocks and shape it to be something else. But we never got that nether hub look that I so much wanted. And if there was another regret, it would be that we never had another hub in season 2 like we did in season 1. So this is my base, of course, emphasis on my own base. Regrets again, like I built things like this, the Steam Donor Hall, and never so much as put a single name inside because just ran out of time, ran out of motivation. And part of it was that we were working on scales that were huge with the intention of like, oh, well, we're not resetting this server anytime soon, so build what you want. But there were things that took a lot of time, like converting all the dirt in this entire biome beyond a certain Y level into stone. Like you'll notice that all these hills are stone, complete solid stone. If you were to load up the seed today, you would see that it was all dirt. Like the majority of it was dirt. And I converted every single last piece of dirt, save for a few where, I hadn't had the chance to, I was still working on it, cutting out pathways and stuff. But the majority of it, 99% of it for sure, was converted into stone. I have to say that that's both a triumph and also a regret. A triumph in that, like, it is pretty epic when you look at it, how much work was put into it. At the same time, if I hadn't done that, I could have, if I had a easier biome to build in, I could have probably done a whole heck of a lot more with builds, And that sort of goes to the railway that I have here. I always loved the scale of this build. It's humongous. It's actually, you think about it, it's humongous. Unlike season 1, when I dug out the donor hall, I did use beacons. This didn't take too long to do in the grand scheme of things. But placing the blocks, for example, which I still hadn't even finished, you can see by the ceiling. Placing the blocks and digging this out was not necessary and took a lot of time. It was a time sink, and if I had any regrets about it, it would be that, because it was so unnecessary, when I got Elytra especially, like, I didn't need to use it. I had nether portals either way. It was unnecessary work that, although it looks kind of cool, could have been spent doing other things, like building more of these type of epic builds. I love this build. One of my favorites. No, this is my favorite. This is my favorite build of season 2, is this dragon-looking building. And I always say it looks like a dragon, just the eyes that it has at the top, going off into like these horn-shaped quartz pillars at the top. The angles of it, the stairs cutting through the side, always looked really, really, really good. I ultimately built a big tree in the middle, and stairway was going to come up, and all of these would celebrate, I believe, the patrons of mine. But again, just took way too much time, way too much effort to do something to thank people in a way that should have been simple. So, again, sort of a little regret, but I do wish that I could find a way to thank people without it taking so long to get to that point. I got to show off this too, because this is my favorite build from someone else on the server. Was Tort's cascading pyramid look thing. I love the colors. I love the waterfalls. I love the grass elements. One of my favorite builds of season 2 was Tort's build here. Just loved it. But of course, being biased, I'm totally gonna miss my biome here, my little build. It looks like a lot has been done, but considering how much time has passed on the server, 3 years or so, I regret putting so much time into something like the railway here when I could have built more like that. But either way, like no regrets, no major regrets. I mean, like I loved my time on season 2, and I look forward so much to season 3. And with that, I wanted to thank you guys for watching. And if you haven't been here for season 1, but you were for season 2, I hope you guys appreciate what we were able to accomplish, what we built, what we did. If you weren't here for season 2, I hope you guys are excited for and looking forward to season 3. I think, whether you've watched anything ever or not, it'll be really exciting and fun for you. And for those of you who have been here since season 1, who have been here in season 2 and are looking forward to season 3, thank you so much for being with us that entire time. I'm excited to see what we do in season 3. I have never been so motivated to play Minecraft, I think, ever, as I am in season 3. The new blocks that we've got, the new people working and walking around and building things, the completely different biomes to what we were used to building in season 1 and 2. I am excited to see what we come up with, and I'm sure you guys are too. And with that, we'll see you guys next time in TimeShot Season 3. Thank you guys for sharing these memories with me. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.